Everyone, it's Frightening here, and I'm going to show you my favorite horde-based design here in 7 Days to Die in this video. I'm going to build a early game version of the base, and then describe how you can, expand the design for later on in the game in this video. Because the concept, everything you need to understand the concept behind this base is present in the basic version of the base. So I'm going to use the creative menu here just to give myself some building materials. I'm going to build it out of early game materials too. I want to showcase at the end of this video that yes, you can survive an early horde very easily with early game materials with this base. So we're going to need some wood blocks. We're going to need some hatches and anything else. Covers it actually, at least for building the base. And so the idea behind this base basically is it's a catwalk. So it elevates you up off ground level, and the reason I do that is so that I can make the zombies see that I have a particular pathway that's easy to get to me, and only that pathway. And then they will take that pathway to me, unless I'm controlling from which direction they're going to approach me. So the beginning of the base basically is a stairwell, and I make it 3 blocks wide like this. And let's see, I'm going to go back to cubes here, because I'm going to build the base as part of this video, because I wanted you to see just how quickly you can build this base. Like, if you have a night 1 horde, you're playing horde every night, you need a base that doesn't require all that much materials and that can be built very quickly. And that's one of the things that space design can be done, or can do for you. Not just that, it also is scalable all the way into endgame. You can create a version of the space that can handle an arbitrarily difficult horde night. And I've done it. I actually stress tested space a number of months back when I was still on my old computer. The reasons I didn't make a video about it then is my old computer handled that task. This new system that I have can. And I wasn't sure how well it was going to do on that test. It passed with flying colors. I was actually surprised how well it did. And so I might make a video where I show the endgame version being stress tested. So the thing with the staircase is you want to go to where you are basically 5 blocks off the ground. And the reason you want to be that high up is if you're only 3 blocks or even 4 off the ground, they might think that they can path to you easier by attacking the foundation, and that's what you don't want to have them do. You want them to think that the easy way to get to you is to come right up the stairs. And so that's what we're going to do. So now, actually, I need to get a different shape. I'm going to use corner stairs. And the reason I'm going to use the corner stairs is because let's get all the shapes, please. Well, the stairs gone. Should be all of them. There we go. I'm not an expert on the shape menu. So yeah, I'm going to use corner stairs like that. The reason is this is the last layer of staircase here. So if you count the blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to be 5 blocks up. Because now I'm going to build it. So you notice I made the middle in here hollow. The reason I did that is you don't need it to be solid. You use a waste of materials to fill this in, and you won't be able to reach in here to upgrade them later if you want to improve the durability of the base design. So you save materials by not filling that in, and this is why. Now that I've built this part here, it's it's sealed in there and you can't reach it. Everything else around here, however, can be upgraded. And will be eventually as you get further in the game. Better materials, you want to make the base better. So the basic principle behind this base is once you've got them up here, coming up your stairwell, you're going to funnel them into a choke point like this. And what I'm building here is the entrance. And I'm going to put a block here, but it's not going to be a cube. The reason is I used to put a cube for the roof in the middle, and then I discovered a problem with that, which is that some of the taller varieties of zombies, if they get knocked around, knocked down, that sort of thing, but they're not dead, when they get back up, they will realize that, wait, I'm too tall to be standing here. And then they'll crouch down in the crawling position, and they won't ever go out of that position at that point. And that's a real problem because when they're crouched down like that and you have the hatches up, which you'll see that here in a minute, you can't readily shoot at them to kill them or get rid of them. And so one of the things I did for the stress test was I wanted to see if this alteration here fixed that. So what I've done is I've taken a ramp here, and I advanced rotated it so it's upside down, and so the tip here is flush with where a hatch would sit, although I leave this first block here open. That way they funnel in to the entrance before I start keeping them at bay. And so for the early game, I found 5 wooden hatches is enough, so I'm going to go 6 blocks out here. You're going to see why it's 6 in a moment. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this here is the foundation. It's just a 1 block strip, the length of the main part of the base. And that's just what's supporting you and keeping you off the ground level. And I was worried the first time I tried this design, which is my very first game in A20. I had been doing a variation of this base where I built it into a hillside. So I would dig into the hillside and then build it like that. And the issue with that one, of course, they can dig down from above, so you have to reinforce the ceiling and stuff. They can even want to dig down from behind if they think the ground is, weak enough. And I didn't have a hillside handy in my first A20 game. I was in a huge flat area. And so I was like, what am I going to do about this? So I decided to try this idea out and see how it worked. And it worked beautifully, and I was kind of like, wow, okay. And so I've made a few adjustments to the design since then, but it's basically the same concept I tried in that game, and it's worked beautifully ever since. So you'll notice what I've done here. The back here, I've extended the foundation out 1 block, and then the level I stand on is out 2 blocks. And the reason for that is you need a little bit of room on the back end to maneuver if you end up back at your very last hatch, which will be sitting right here. And so that's why that's there. And the cool thing is, if I expand the space later, this little fixture on the end isn't a problem. I've already begun to set up the expansion. I would add in more layers to this base, and then reproduce this structure at the end again, at the end of my upgrade, and it would have the same back end, but instead of only being 5 hatches deep, which you're going to see here in a moment where the hatches go, it would be, say, 10 hatches deep, or even 20. In fact, you can go all the way up to 30 hatches without pathing issues. They will still come up the stairwell and make their way right here. So that's worth noting what I did there. Copy shape. Very useful when you're building if you didn't know about that feature. And so all these need to be oriented like that. Notice what's going on here, if I get the interface out of the way, is that I'm creating headroom if they're standing, right in front of the block here, which they will be if this is the hatch they're trying to beat through to get to me. And this headroom allows those taller zombies to stand back up, and they will do so because of it. Without it, they won't do that, and you'll have problems. The idea is you want the hatches like this, so they open toward where the zombies are coming from. And I'm just going to have 5 hatches. I am going to upgrade them, so I'm going to give myself some materials to do that. Yeah, some of that, and a little bit of iron. I'm not going to go to actual iron hatches, but I'm going to fully upgrade the wooden hatches with these materials. Let's give myself a stone axe real quick. Give myself a faster tool. This is the sort of tools you're going to have in the early game. Now, I used a fair bit of wood. I used 125 blocks and 5 hatches. So that's 1,250 wooden blocks, and the hatches are a little bit more, plus I'm upgrading them, so it's maybe about 1,400 wood. Sounds like a lot, but 3 can give you over 100. You don't necessarily have to build it out of wood. If you've managed to dig up, some clay and stone, or just gotten it in the loot, you could use cobblestone instead. In fact, that's a lot more hit points. It's 1,500 per block instead of 500 per block. You can use whatever materials you got handy in the early game. And yeah, this is the base. Like, it's complete. It's ready to face a horde knight. And so what I'm going to do, you'll notice the day is red. I set it to night. So I'm going to actually bring on a horde. The idea is you pull up 2 hatches like this, and you're standing back here. You can actually reach far enough. You can use melee weapons, even knuckles, which have the least reach, to hit zombies from here if you want to use melee with the space design. I prefer to use guns because ammunition is usually pretty abundant in this game. and I enjoy shooting zombies. You can use explosives super easily with this base. If you've got like pipe bombs, I recommend kind of aiming like over here, bounce it off the wall so it lands right about there, and it'll usually settle down next to them and go off right next to them, and they'll all clump up here in front of the first hatch trying to beat their way through. So explosives are super good with this base. You can use Molotovs. Be super careful with them. It's easy to accidentally light yourself on fire. What you need to do is like stand about this far back, aim right about here, and fully charge up the throw and then throw it. It'll hit the first zombie that's standing there, and then the fire will go down there. You need to be far enough back you don't get lit on fire. The reason you crouch is you don't want to accidentally clip the ceiling block, and then it goes off right then and there, and then you light yourself on fire. Molotovs can be kind of a pain to use with this base design, but with some practice you can figure out how to use them as well. Overall, I think explosives are much better, just because zombies that are on fire will still keep beating on your hatch till they burn to death, whereas explosives puts that to a stop immediately, and this is what's protecting you from the zombies. If they break through the last hatch here, you're SOL, so you want to make sure you have enough hatches. And you do want to upgrade them. The hatches are the most important component of this base, so once you have the iron to afford it, do upgrade them to iron hatches. Once you finally have access to forged steel, and enough of it that you can actually make vault hatches, upgrade them all the way to that as well. The foundation is kind of important, as well as the structure around here, particularly the ceiling block here. This one here is the most important, because the zombies will hit this block, especially when they really pile up here at the entrance, and subsequently they'll hit the top blocks. They'll hit the sides a little bit sometimes. They kind of swing wildly. They'll also hit a bit around the stairs here. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to show. I'm not quite done. This is sufficient for an early horde night, but later on you will have some issues with them attacking this block right here on the stairwell, because they won't quite get around the corner, and they'll get stuck here, and they'll think, oh, this is in my way, I'm going to beat my way through it, instead of going out and around like that. It's really silly, but they will do that, and the solution is more corner stairs. So let's actually copy that shape up there. That's my corner stairs. I just have one like that and then one like this. That I found has been solving that problem. They do a much easier job of managing to get up onto the stairs and not getting caught on the side for any significant amount of time. They'll still hit the stairs a little bit, but they won't stay there. They'll quickly repass and realize, oh yeah, I can get around, and then they'll make their way on up here. So that little modification there, it's 4 more blocks. Not necessary for the early game, but you will want to do that eventually with design, so that it's you don't have them breaking the stairwell, because if they break their ability to climb these stairs and get to you, they no longer have a path to you, they're going to attack the foundation. That's the other thing you really don't want. Looks like one of the Wanderers got alerted already. So let's give myself a pretty typical early game weapon, just a good old pipe shotgun. Doesn't need to be super high tier. Let's give myself plenty of ammo. And I'm gonna go ahead and make it a horde night and demonstrate Alright, so I need to bring up that, set time, 1:21:55. 5 minutes game time, it'll be a horde night here, and you'll get to see this base in action. Now, my game stage is super low right now, it's GS1. Actually, I need to up my game stage. So, if you're game stage 1, it won't actually give you a horde night. So, I'm going to give XP 15,000. Let's give self XP if I remember right. There. So now I'm level 2. I have a skill point, but the big thing is, because I'm level 2, I'll actually get some zombie spawns. If you're level 1, you won't get any. That's something to know. It's a weird little quirk of how the game stage calculations for horde nights work. You actually will get no horde night at game stage 1. Yeah. Because our game stage 2 we'll get a horde night, it's going to be like all of 5 zombies, because our game stage is literally 2. Game stage is your level plus some other modifiers based on time survived and whatnot. And so here we come. Here come some zombies. You can hear them traipsing their way on in. They sometimes attack the foundation a little, but they mostly will come up like that, and you'll be able to shoot them all night long. If you want, you can do repairs on the hatches during the horde night, but I prefer to be able to just focus on shooting them, which is why I have multiple hatches and I will add more as the game progresses and upgrade them as well so that they last longer. So that's 3 zombies down. Any more? Oh, yep, there's one. Yeah, and so the reason I have 2 hatches again, if they break this first one keeps them from getting me. I back up, pull up the next one, keep going. Real simple. Really simple and really effective. I think that's it. I'm not hearing any more zombies. If I do, I'll quickly run back up the stairs and throw up the hatches. If you're in a rush, oh god, there's zombies coming. Boom. You're safe again. So yeah, that's it. They barely did any damage to speak of. The biggest amount of damage by far is going to be this hatch, and he didn't even do 50 hit points of damage to it. No, bigger horde, more active zombies, yeah, they'll break hatches, and this base would not be sufficient for like a GS20 or beyond horde, so it's game stage 20 plus. You're going to need more than this, either tougher hatches or more of them, preferably both. So you want to make sure you have enough, basically. And if you found they broke the majority of your hatches on a given horde night, that's kind of a clue that maybe you want to add some more before the next one, especially if your horde nights are less frequent. Because the zombie count picks up pretty aggressively. Like, game stage 20, you might have to fight 40 or 50 zombies in total. But yeah, I think that pretty nicely demonstrates the design. The basic idea is when you want to add to it to make it longer, you just come down here. However many more hatches you want to add, that's the number of blocks you add back here, and then you just work your way up and you replicate the whole design you saw me doing earlier, where you go up 5 blocks and then out on the sides over 1 block and then all the way up, and then do the ceiling with ramps in the upside position. You can copy shape and copy rotation. It's a really fast way to get that shape from where you set. You copy shape, then once you have the shape, you can copy rotation. See, it's oriented already correctly. Really convenient little feature they added, which I really like. And if for some reason, maybe you have your block damage up to 300%, this was 100% block damage, by the way. One of these with 30 hatches, even made out of steel, isn't enough, because your zombies are doing crazy amounts of damage. You can take this entire design, a 30 hatch version of it, build a second one next to the first one with the entrance at the opposite end, and the idea is you bail out of this one, run over to the nearby stairs at the other one, up those stairs, and you begin the process all over again. It's completely scalable. You can have an arbitrary number of hatches between having multiple instances of 30 just parallel next to each other with the entrances on alternating ends. And this is why I really like this concept, is it's totally scalable. It can be built very small for the early game. You can upgrade every single block. I can upgrade all of these blocks. This one here supporting the stairs is upgradable. These guys are upgradable. All this stuff is. The ones here, because there's none internal in there, all these blocks are upgradable on the sides. You can even upgrade the top side blocks because these are only ramps. That's actually another benefit of using ramps instead of full cubes, is you can more easily upgrade the blocks that are on the sides of the roof. It can be hard to reach from ground level when you're this far down, maybe even impossible if your base is maybe a little higher or it's built onto a hillside. Yeah, it's great. The biggest thing is I definitely recommend flat ground, because you might think you're high enough up initially, but if there's a hill over here, suddenly you're not high enough anymore, and then they will attack the foundation. So you don't want that, and it can be rather tedious to dig away the ground so that they're not able to do that. So that's something to consider. You want to find a nice open flat bit of ground to build it on. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it for this horde base. I hope you all like it. I certainly do. Let me know how it works for you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. I might make a second video showing an endgame version of this base being stress tested against a high game stage horde, just to kind of prove the point that, yeah, this base is really as good as it seems. Anyways, that's all for now. See you guys.